right, guys, we're going to talk in this webinar about the features of our website platform, okay? The site itself and some key important features that you need to know when you're out there and you're conducting sales. Now, I don't want to give you guys confusing information. I don't want to go into the 1,001 little tiny features that the platform has. I don't want to get you guys lost in the weeds of trying to decipher what's important and what's not. So I'm going to focus specifically upon the key components that differentiate our website platform and the sites you're selling from all the other competitors and everybody else in the marketplace. And that starts with what's called the CDN. Our websites load from a content delivery network. Okay, that's what CDN stands for. And what CDN does is it gives the website the ability to load from a local server. Okay, think of it like this. With most websites that you've got out there, you have a central server. Let's say the server's located where there's many servers located, Provo, Utah. It's sitting there, it's in a co-location facility. There's an install of Linux, there's Apache, there's MySQL, there's PHP, then there's WordPress installed, and the server, is out there. And it's probably on a server. The server probably hosts 10,000 sites, probably 1,000 sites, right? Let's be pretty conservative. 10,000 is a bit of a stretch, but at least hundreds and if not thousands of websites are on that server. That website loads for everyone on planet Earth from that facility and that server. So if that server goes down, the website's down for everybody. If somebody in Europe goes to load that site, it's going to load slower than it would if it were located, say, in England, right? If it were located somewhere near Europe or in Europe. So we use a CDN. A CDN is basically almost like a RAID array on a computer, where we have servers scattered all across the world, and on those servers are copies of the website, and they all talk to each other and they all update, on a very, very frequent basis. What this gives you the ability to do is somebody over in Japan goes to load the website. The website's going to load from the closest server to Japan. It's not going to load from one in Europe. It's not going to load from one in the United States. It's going to load from one in Asia Pacific area. Now, if that server goes down, what happens? Somebody in Japan goes to load it, and that server, for whatever reason, is down, even though it's probably not going to go down. What's going to happen is it's just going to load from the second closest server, which is still faster than if you have a single server serving everyone on Earth. Do you see how this works? It's a really, really simple way to understand this. Think of it like a spider web, right? Servers located all over the earth. They all mirror the website. If one goes down, the other ones just pick up the slack. Simple as that. This gives you faster load times. It gives you way higher, near 100% uptime. This is much, much better for clients, and it can be a real selling point to people when you have clients that, are looking at having a site and they're thinking of this stuff. A lot of clients are familiar with having their websites go down. They're familiar with all the problems that ensue from having a site that's unreliable. They're familiar with, all these different issues and problems and, errors and whatnot that come from having a website that has bad hosting. It's a real problem for people. Now, when your competitors go up against you and you have the CDN, you have the power of a distributed network of servers around the world mirroring the site, ensuring uptime and ensuring it loads locally, and they've got, some server somewhere, and that's all they've got, you are in a much better position to get a sale. It's really that simple. So that's the first thing I wanted to cover before we even get into the website features. This is a platform feature that's incredibly important to understand because it's going to give you that edge in the sales process. The second thing I'm going to go into is website personalization. This is a feature that is so powerful that I could spend an entire hour just talking about the use of this. Basically, website personalization gives you the ability to have a site constructed in such a way that website has triggers, and the triggers trigger actions, right? So right here we have the triggers on the left and actions on the right. Triggers can be time-based, location-based, device type-based, number of visits, or a campaign URL, meaning a URL where people came from. Depending upon triggers, you give people different content, right? It's a way of differentiating people. So if you have a person, you have a website locally, let's say it's a restaurant, based in Tampa, Florida. If the person goes and looks at that restaurant's website and they're based in Tampa, you can show them one thing. If they're based, you can send them a message that's local, right? You can have graphics pop up, right? New content. Or you can have a notification. Hey, we have a discount for local people in Tampa. Come on out for Thursdays, family night, whatever. Or if it's somebody who's loading that exact same website and they're loading it and they're coming in from New York City, you can say we're the best tourist destination in Tampa. You can send them a different message. Or time triggers. Time triggers really matter. For a restaurant or business like that, somebody loads the site in the morning, you have your breakfast specials. Somebody loads it at night, you have your dinner specials. Number of visits. Let's say you have a website and it's an e-commerce site, right? It's a site that's selling something or trying to get leads. Somebody shows up to the site the first time, they get one message. Somebody loads up the second time, they get another message telling them, hey, we noticed you visited, give us a call. This gives you the ability to get very creative with how you construct websites. It almost changes the architecture of the site. It does a lot to make the website function in a much more responsive way in terms of what it's going to do as a marketing vehicle for a business. This is very, very, very important feature because almost nobody is building sites with website personalization. This is something that 5 years ago would have been like sci-fi, right? It's as revolutionary really as the introduction of the iPhone was to phones. It's a meteoric leap in the technology and how the technology works in terms of what it's going to do for, individual businesses and what they're going to get out of their site. So this is something that's really a key selling point. And the ability of us, you can mix and match triggers and actions and triggers and come up with incredible stuff, advertisements, coupons, different messages to different groups. So you can kind of list segment. You can do so many things with this. Really crucial. The next feature we're going to talk about is progressive web apps. Now, it's important before even going into web apps to understand this. Apps, broadly speaking, are questionably a good or bad idea, right? Most apps, when you look at the app stores for Google and Apple, have never been downloaded, not even one time. People do not download apps because the real estate space on people's smartphones is really cramped and it's really valuable. People don't download apps for random small businesses. It just doesn't happen. Never really was a big thing, but it really doesn't happen nowadays. However, you're going to run into lots of clients that want an app. It happens. It's going to come, all the time. You run into clients that want the app. They're sold on it. They have different reasons they want it, but they want it. When you run into these people, you have an answer to their question because all the websites we sell come with progressive web apps. And a progressive web app is basically the mobile version of the site can be brought and it can be placed as a PWA right onto a smartphone and run just like an application. And it's going to load much faster and it's going to refresh itself and it's going to be really, really slick and fast and function just like an app. So when you run into clients that want to have an app and they don't know, should I get one? Shouldn't I? And you run into them, you can tell them, hey, it comes with the site as a standard, right? We have progressive web apps, comes with it. There are some benefits to PWAs. It gives users faster, easier access to sites. If somebody wants that, they can have that. Sites load instantly, enables users to re-enter a site even if they're offline, which is something that can be a real benefit for certain types of sites. Creates more engaging mobile experiences. It gives you PWAs are supported in Chrome and Android. PWAs are now supported in iOS 11.4.1. These benefits, are they going to apply to a broad group of people? Not really, but you do get that benefit of having an app and giving your client the ability to use it. There are niche instances where you have e-commerce sites or sites where you may have an expansive catalog or gallery where having the progressive web app can be really important. Again, it's niche, but it's a big benefit. And it's something we do that almost nobody else does. It's a selling point in the instances where it comes up. And you will run into situations where this comes up because a lot of people are sold on the app idea. Now, we also have WhatsApp integration. WhatsApp basically gives you the ability to chat and engage with customers right on the site. So when you have your site, you build the site out. We go ahead and we can integrate WhatsApp so that a person browsing the site can go ahead and start chatting to somebody. It gives them a very easy, fluid channel. This can matter a lot. There's a lot of businesses out there where they have, a manager or a secretary or whoever who can sit there and can actually just sit on this all day when they're at their desk doing their job. And when people come along and want to get information, they can start chatting and engaging with that person, and they can get leads this way. This is a vehicle for leads, big time. For some businesses, this really, really matters. When you go to sites and you have the ability to chat to somebody, believe me, it tremendously, tremendously changes up the way that you're going to, engage and be able to talk to that business. It really gives you a tremendous edge. And in the sales process, a lot of people, tons of web development companies and agencies do not have this. Or if they have it, they don't think to talk about it and integrate it because they're not thinking in terms of marketing. And this speaks to a broader sort of topic that, not to go off on too long of a tangent with you guys, but it's very important to always put your client front and center and to think in terms of their needs. Your client has needs. They're very specific needs, but they're theirs. And when we talk about website features, a lot of the time, a big mistake people make is they think of features like tech toys, right? They think of features in terms of something like this little flashlight, right? I have a little flashlight on my desk. They're thinking of it like it's a widget, a gadget to sell to them. It's not a gadget. It's a vehicle to profit. It's something that business is investing in to make money. So all the features, broadly speaking, they all have to tie back to a real tangible value, right? This is important for all of you to understand. Progressive web apps, WhatsApp integration, website personalization, CDN, all these things have real world consequences. They're not gadgets. A client, nobody's going to buy them because it's cool. They're buying this stuff because there are real substantive value baked into the cake of having this stuff in your site, having this stuff at your business. More reliable website that increases engagement, gets leads, website that's going to give you higher conversion rates and turn into dollars. Always think about that when you're talking about selling sites. Now, I could go into a whole bunch of, we could go really deep dive down the rabbit hole of all kinds of small features like parallax scrolling and graphics and, video formats and just all that kind of stuff. The platform has all that, but that stuff is not what makes this unique. The stuff that makes this platform and what you're selling unique are the things that are very, very different from what everybody else has. Keep that in mind. This does not mean, however, that the unique things are going to be the selling points in every single case. The fact is, if you do a good job in sales, people are buying because they have in their minds the things that matter to them, right? Everybody does. You're going to have people that, to them, the unique selling point of the site is something that is completely different person to person to person. One person, something's going to matter. Another person, it's not. Keeping that in mind, let's go ahead and take a look at some of the other things about this platform. And I'm just going to browse around and we're just going to take a look. Something that's important for you to understand here is the front-end technology is Zurb Foundation and React.js. Think of this like the foundational technology that everything is built from. When we talk about platforms, right? Web development platforms, and I'm going to grossly simplify this just for the sake of conversation. When you look at a website, right, it's essentially a pile of script and code, right? It's a bunch of written code and written script, and it's designed in such a way that it pulls together different types of scripting and coding, JavaScript, HTML5, all this different stuff, and it allows for sophisticated web technologies to be derived from these underlying frameworks, right? These are like the technological underpinnings. Like with your computer, you have an operating system, and on top of the operating system run applications. Well, with this, our foundation is Zurb and React, and on top of that, we build all the unique features and widgets and gadgets and all the different things. Why does that matter? Well, you're going to run into clients who are technologically sophisticated, who understand web development a little bit, and they want to know what's it built in, what's it built on, how does this thing work, what are the nuts and bolts of it. All you have to do is refer them to Zurb and React.js, right? All you have to do is tell them Google Zurb, Google React, and you'll get an idea of who runs Zurb, what runs on that. Basically, almost not every, but a huge number of Fortune 100 companies and massive web development businesses and huge sophisticated organizations use these technologies. These are wildly popular, very modern, up-to-the-date, state-of-the-art technologies. So it will immediately put your clients at ease. Because there are people that when you ask that have an answer like, oh, it runs on, PHP. Which isn't bad, but it's okay. Runs on PHP. It's much less sophisticated in terms of the ability to, and I'm grossly exaggerating. I'm grossly, generalizing here. But when people look up Zurb and React, they're going to see a lot more fanfare there than you would get if you were looking at, a lot of technologies that are out there. So you can bring them here and you can reference all these different businesses that run on that. Now, Zurb is kind of like the front end. React is kind of like the back end. It's foundation from Zurb and it's React.js. The two of them together form the framework and form the foundation of exactly how our stuff runs. Now, you can look at some of the companies that are behind these technologies. Facebook, Instagram, Netflix, New York Times, PayPal, Uber, Periscope, Reddit, Airbnb. Point is, this is really important to know and to have it in your brain to be able to immediately spit this out and say, okay, this is our basis of what our technology is built on, right? What it runs on. Now, we can go in here and we can look at some other stuff. We can go through responsive sites. We can go through a lot of stuff, right? Understanding what a responsive site is, I'm not going to bore you with that. The last thing that I want to talk about is this. I want to talk about CMS and user friendliness, because when we talk about our website in terms of editing, we discourage, letting end clients go in and use the editor. We don't like it because no matter how easy to use an editor is, and ours is very easy to use, end clients will go in there and they'll just mess it all up. You guys know that. You understand that. They'll go in there and they'll try to upload a 50 megabyte image on their homepage. They'll go in there and just destroy. And you'll end up in a world of constantly having to reset the site and getting into battles over edits with the end client. However, it is important to note it's a very user-friendly platform, and that translates into a lot of different things. It translates into the ability to have a platform that's very flexible, a platform where edits are not something that's going to cost you a ton of money, and consequently it's not going to cost the end client a lot of money. And it's an extensible platform with a tremendous amount of security and stability built right into it. One of the things that really matters to a lot of clients is they want to have periodic updates. You'll have clients, say restaurants, that want to update their menu every 6 months, that want to maybe have a blog on their site, maybe have a section where they upload videos, maybe, certain things they want to do and they want to have you do. They want to get these things done. When you run into those situations, it is absolutely no big deal to set that up. You need to understand this because a lot of web development companies put up a tremendous, they stonewall. They will not allow anything to change. They don't want anything, being uploaded because they make their money in one giant chunk and they don't want to do edits. They don't want to even get involved in it. That's not true with us, and consequently, it's not true for you. So it gives you that ability that, down the line, you run into a situation where your client wants some updates to the site, it's no big deal. It's not going to cost you a lot of money from our end, and it's not going to cost the end client a lot of money. So you can let them know, hey, this is a website that can grow with you. It's not locked in stone. And actually, I'm going to talk about one last thing here, and that's security. It's really important for you to understand the security functionality of it. Our platform is tremendously, tremendously secure. It has built-in firewall, built-in, antivirus indexes that are updated every 24 hours. It is a safe platform. This matters big time to clients. Nowadays, more than ever, people are paranoid and for good reason of all the bad things that can end up happening on to your business online. If you have a website that gets a virus or, falls victim to malware, falls victim to just a litany of different problems sites can get based upon malicious and bad actors that are out there. With our platform, it's not the case. When we issue updates, antivirus index updates, all that kind of stuff, that stuff just fires out to everybody automatically. Unlike a website built in WordPress where that site is as up to date as that single admin is doing their job, with us, it's a centralized authority. So we send out an update. It goes out to everybody automatically. Plugins get updated automatically. And we don't work via the same sort of plugin system where, with WordPress, you can update a plugin and it can overwrite an area of the site. It can actually, you can end up having broken websites from trying to update stuff. That's not the case with us. It's not how it works with our platform. Plugin updates are very non-destructive. They're not going to, wipe out sections of your site. That never can happen. Anyhow, that's going to wrap up this vid. I just wanted to give you guys just some pointers and tips here about the features of our platform and what it is that it can do for you. I'll see you in the next webinar.